Hello, everyone out there. So today we're going to be talking about testosterone. We're going to talk about the best ways to increase testosterone naturally without taking pills. So any guy, but especially when you start hitting your 30s and when you really start hitting your 40s, testosterone decline is a natural process. It just, it's part of nature. So today we're going to talk about some natural ways about how to increase that. And just a quick little tidbit about why this is so important. In the first place, it deals with how you're able to build muscle, how you're able to get leaner, and how you're able to stay lean. It also helps regulate a lot of stuff in your body. So we're going to talk about that testosterone. So if that's something you're interested in, hang on and we're going to get to it. As always, folks, when you're watching these videos, if you want to drop a hashtag live, if you're watching that thing live, or a hashtag replay in the replay there, helps me out. Hey, thank you, Mr. Garland. Really appreciate that, man. So like I said, we're talking about that testosterone. So just the nerd side of me is going to come out for a second. So bear with me for like 30 seconds, okay? The really interesting thing that they've shown about testosterone, so they did studies and they showed that just having kids alone for men lowered the testosterone. I haven't seen studies about females. I'm not saying they haven't done any, I just haven't seen them. And so with men, it's like when you have kids, it immediately drops. And then when you actually have more kids, it continues to drop more and more. And so it has to do with like our internal need for procreation, right? To be able to have kids and move our lineage on and on and on. The caveman in us, I guess you could say. And so the more kids you have, and when you break that point of being 30 and 40, testosterone production is something that does go down. So there's a couple quick ways that we're going to talk about to do this. There are a ton of ways. I'm going to talk about a handful of them today, the ones that I currently use, the one that my clients use, and we get the best amount of results from them. So do not think that this is the only list, okay? These are just the best ones that I like to start with. Hey, thanks, Mariah, dropping that hashtag live in there. Appreciate that. Okay, so movement, or the first thing we're going to talk about is compound movements, okay? Compound heavy movements. So things like the deadlift, the squat, and the bench press, those are going to be really, really big ones. So if you're actually, thinking about the big four, it would include bench press, but with strict press, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about just those big three. And so the reason those particular movements are so effective because they're using so many different muscle groups in order to do something. And because it's such a strong movement, a strength movement, it allows you to really have to, dig deep, you could say. Now, when I say heavy, I just want to clear this up here real quick. When I say heavy is relative to the individual. It's relative to how well you move, to your experience with what you're doing, to your what's called your training age. How long have you actually been lifting altogether compared to how long have you been lifting to the particular movement? So when I say heavy, that doesn't mean that everyone's going out and benching 300 pounds. It could be like a 40-year-old client that I have, and when he's bench pressing, we're in the range of like 185. Okay. That's not super heavy, but it's heavy enough to elicit the response that we're looking for. And he is now getting an increase of free testosterone because we're working on these compound lifts. Okay, so that's number one. Number two here, this one's going to sound woo-woo. I know it is. A lot of people think this stuff is not connected, but I can promise you it is sleep. Sleep has a lot to do with a lot of stuff and how our body processes through muscle damage and workouts and all that kind of stuff. But the real gains happens in the sleep, and you also have your growth hormones. It's also being set by your sleep cycle, how much sleep you're getting, how little sleep you're getting. All those kind of things are going to play into the testosterone. So if you're low in testosterone or you're feeling like it's been dipping down, focusing on just your sleep quality, okay? Doesn't have to be quantity. Quantity is something that I think too many people focus on. Quantity is like, well, I don't have 10 hours to be able to sit down and sleep. But instead, what we're focused on is saying, how can the quality of time that you're sleeping actually make a difference? Okay, so that's number two. Number three is going to be when you're eating your foods, try to not reheat them into plastic containers. The material that's in the plastic, when you heat it up, has been shown to decrease testosterone levels. And I know it sounds silly, but these things are absolutely connected because of what's going on inside the body when that plastic gets inside of it. So those are the three that I'm going to stick with today, because I'm at my 5 minutes and I'm trying to make these things more actionable. Those of you that have been following me long enough know that I could talk forever about this stuff. So number one, compound heavy movements. You want to be doing those compound movements 2 to 3 times a week minimum. Number two is getting proper quality sleep. If you're not getting sleep, you're not recovering, which means that your hormone levels are off. And that's why your testosterone levels are going to be down. And the third one is don't reheat your food in plastic. Use a plate, use Pyrex, use whatever the case that you're using. Do not use plastic. Just by focusing on those 3 things alone, and you stick to them for 30 days, I promise you your testosterone levels will go up, okay? So thank you very much, guys, for checking me out today. Remember, if you're watching that thing live, drop a hashtag live in the comments for me, and drop a hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. This video, as most of my videos that I do, actually come from you guys. Reached out to Andrew, so thank you, Andrew, very much. He gave me some really cool topics for tonight. So if you have topics you want me to cover, DM them over to me, and I will continue to make these videos, and you have a fantastic rest of your day.